All right, here we are on a Monday, April 15th. Grant Johnston here. Thanks for joining me on this YouTube channel, Weather Preparation. And we've got a pretty big storm system coming out of the Rockies and pushing into the Central Plains today. And there is some concern for severe weather. You can see the clouds developing out ahead of it. Storms will be developing and really getting with it later this evening and tonight, especially from Nebraska down through Kansas, parts of Oklahoma, and even here in North Texas as well. So let's jump right in and kind of walk you through the next several hours and what to expect here. Starting off with a big view and the radar picture showing that we're kind of in the early stages of this developing storm system, so not a whole lot happening just yet, but that'll be changing later today. Let's walk you through and we'll check out the scene here. The advisory map here from the National Weather Service certainly showing a high fire danger, a lot of wind with this storm system as it comes out of the Rockies and moves into the Central Plains. So red flag warning stretching from the western high plains of Texas into New Mexico, Colorado. This is the bright pink shading here, western Kansas, eastern Colorado, on up through South Dakota and parts of Iowa and even southwest Minnesota. All right, here's the severe weather threat later today. And again, we are concerned here with areas from Nebraska down through Kansas, parts of Oklahoma, and also here in North Texas. This will be later this evening. It's looking more like an overnight event, especially up into Kansas and Nebraska with that threat for tornadoes. But this is a Category 3, or a Level 3, as we should say, an enhanced risk here, meaning that there could be some significant severe weather, including tornadoes, especially for central and northern Kansas up into Nebraska. Farther south, the severe weather threat will mainly be for large hail into North Texas. Couldn't completely rule out a tornado, but the main risk, I think the better shear and ingredients for tornadoes will be for central northern Kansas on up to south central Nebraska. And that's where the enhanced category is. Farther south, the dynamics are a little bit better for large hail. And we are talking about the potential for golf ball to baseball sized hail. Big question mark, though, will be whether or not we can overcome the cap in place. And this time of year is the cap. That's a warm layer of air higher up that kind of suppresses thunderstorm development at the surface. So if we can overcome that cap, then that will be more of a concern for severe storms a little farther to the south. But the cap does look like it's going to be playing a role. So let's walk you through here. One of the computer models here. This is the HRRR, and let's rewind this. And as we can see, this is Monday afternoon. Not a whole lot going on, pretty quiet, but by late afternoon and evening, we see some development here around Wichita Falls, stretching south down toward Abilene. Again, this is west of Dallas-Fort Worth. We'll have to watch for the potential for a couple of isolated severe storms there. Those would mainly be hail-producing storms, unless they could get rooted at the surface, unless they can kind of latch on to the dry line and become surface-based. And then watch as we go through the overnight hours. Notice how those storms kind of fall apart and weaken as they move into a more stable environment. Meanwhile, things just start ramping up into Kansas and Nebraska. Again, this time frame here would be midnight at 5Z. Then we're going after midnight. Looks like these storms definitely could be some discrete supercell type storms, northern Kansas, central Nebraska. And those storms will be ongoing into kind of the wee hours of Tuesday morning, and the potential for large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes. The Cape is definitely sufficient, more than sufficient for severe weather as we go through Monday evening. We're talking about some 2,000 to 3,000, over 3,000 joules per kilogram up through Nebraska, down through Kansas. So it's all dependent on that storm system, the forcing, and the necessary lift. Notice how the Cape is impressive down into western Oklahoma, Texas Panhandle as well. It's like kind of an late evening, overnight event. We see that initial batch of storms trying to develop out west toward Wichita Falls and north of Abilene. Then that kind of weakens. Things kind of settle down after that initial wave at least tries to develop. Take this back to full screen here. And again, it looks like it's mainly going to be up to the north, Kansas and Nebraska. So for Dallas-Fort Worth, our storm chances are looking fairly low. There could be just a couple of isolated storms. And I think the main reason is that we're going to have the cap in place. And this map here is called convective inhibition. So it's kind of like an inverse of some of the other maps where you see the bright colors here. That's where storms are likely to be suppressed. But the cap will probably be breaking overnight tonight. Western, central Oklahoma, and west of Dallas-Fort Worth, so western North Texas. And so again, we're watching that storm system. Looks like the main concern will be up through Nebraska and Kansas for a tornado potential. Then everything kind of shifts over into Iowa and Missouri as we head into Tuesday afternoon, and then eventually Illinois. So the severe weather risk map here all shifts farther to the east as we head into Tuesday. So the enhanced area, the level 3, this is for northern Missouri, parts of western Illinois, and south and southeastern Iowa. That's where the enhanced risk is. The potential is there for tornadoes. Again, this will be probably late Tuesday afternoon and a Tuesday evening, but it's that bullseye, this orange area, the enhanced risk. That's the most concerning. So we're back to our computer model here, the NAM model, and we'll walk you through looking at Tuesday morning. Let's go throughout time here, and here's midday Tuesday. Line of thunderstorms, perhaps severe, from southwest Minnesota into central northern Iowa and perhaps northeast Missouri. We'll run this out Tuesday evening, and then we get into late afternoon and evening. And these are the ones here that develop a little closer to the triple point, the warm front, and that area of low pressure. These are the ones that are probably going to be more of a concern for central and southern Iowa, northern Missouri. Those will probably be the severe storms, and they'll probably be rotating. So tornado risk Tuesday evening, parts of Iowa, northern Missouri, and then eventually in Illinois. The severe weather risk for the Ohio Valley on Wednesday. Slight risk category, central, southern Indiana, much of western Kentucky, far northern Tennessee, and western Ohio. Our storm system right here, that's the one that's coming through today, and that'll swing on through as it kind of phases in with another trough farther north. Then things will kind of calm down later in the week across the central plains and really warm up by late in the week. Looking at temperatures here for Dallas-Fort Worth, well into the 80s the rest of the week, and even near 90 by Thursday. So looking at quite an early taste of summer. Well, not quite that hot, but definitely warmer than it should be here for the middle of April. So to recap, for Dallas-Fort Worth, and the severe weather risk map is mainly to the north of DFW and northwest. That's where we have a level 2 risk, including for large hail, damaging winds. Tornado or two cannot be ruled out. I still think the better ingredients will be a little farther to the north for tornadoes, on up into Oklahoma, and especially north from there up into Kansas and Nebraska. But it wouldn't surprise me if we had one or two isolated storms that tried to put out a couple tornadoes to the west of DFW. Let's pause it here for you, and you can see around 6 p.m. the computer model, 6:30 there, shows some storms out toward Abilene. We'll have to see if those can develop. The cap may keep those from developing. Let's hold it here about 9 o'clock. And again, the computer model is showing those storms affecting Dallas-Fort Worth and just to the east of here, but we'll have to see if the cap can allow that. They may not be able to develop. And then as we go through the overnight hours, we'll see another batch of storms develop out west, and then those will probably affect our DFW counties around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and we may see just a few leftover showers for the morning drive. So if we could put kind of a timeline on it for you for Dallas-Fort Worth, the timing of those storms looks to be this evening and overnight, going with about a 40% chance. So we'll stay on top of things. We'll watch it for you, and we'll let you know if there's any severe weather warnings that are issued. Let's bring up the 10-day forecast here so you can see what's coming our way. Temperature today close to 80, about 81, with thunderstorms this evening and overnight tonight. A couple could linger into early Tuesday, and then they'll be out of here, I think, by midday. Tuesday's high 86, and Wednesday 86 with sunshine. 87 on Thursday's latest models, though, showing we might even make a run for 90. And then we do have more storm chances showing up Thursday evening and Friday. And now Saturday is looking wet, so keep those plans flexible for the weekend. Hey, thanks for joining me here on Weather Preparation. Make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day.